YouTube? It's your girl JaKelXO and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning into this next conversation that I have presented for you. But if you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to join the crew, and also hit that bell to be notified of any time that I upload. And also just a good reminder to follow me on my socials. They will be linked down in the description below. I am on Instagram, TikTok, and I am on Twitch. I am mainly more active on my Instagram page because that's where I most post of my WWE 2K content, because I'm also a WWE 2K co-creator. So if you want to check that out, you can check that out when you get the chance. Thank you so much, but let's dive right into this topic. So as you see in the title, we're going to be talking about Mercedes Mone, and I have a few things I would like to cover in this video. So I really don't know how long this is going to be, but I'm just going to talk as much as I can to cover everything in one video. I did take a few notes because there were a lot of things that I really wanted to be sure that I kept my facts straight before I got into this topic as well, because Mercedes Mone is always a talk of conversation in the wrestling industry at this moment right now. As we have seen countless times, she is collecting a belt from left to right. She is considered a belt collector and has been most recognized of capturing as much gold as she can. Now, there's a lot of things that I see online and also conversations that I have with the family about Mercedes Mone belt collecting, and I just want to give my take on me personally, what I feel about it. I will say I do love Mercedes Mone. I do consider her one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, like on my list for women. So no, I'm not saying any of this as a personal take, because I do have facts and opinions, which is going to be very easy to decipher as I go on about this conversation. So the first thing I would like to say is that I know Mercedes Mone as a topic. I'm not going to say her as a name is controversial. I know this topic is very controversial due to the amount of hate that she receives and a lot of dislike that a lot of people have for her, or what she's doing currently as a wrestler in AEW at the moment right now. But before I go into that part, I do want to deep dive a sense of what a belt collector is in the wrestling industry. And to define what a belt collector is referred as, is a wrestler who holds multiple championship belts from different promotions or organizations simultaneously, often to establish themselves as the best in the world, and also in addition to establish a sexual character and storylines by putting spotlight on all the involved promotions. And I'm going to deep dive into many wrestlers who have solidified this type of role. So first you have which is the most common, the most popular known wrestler, which is Ultimo Dragon, who has held 10 title belts at the same time in his career. Next you have Kenny Omega, who has held 4 championships in his career. You have Kurt Angle, who has held 5 in total. Next you have Matt Cardona, who has held 4 in total, with also a special belt that he created on his own, which was the Internet Championship title. Next up you have Big Vader Van, who has held 3 simultaneously in his run in Japan. You have the Hardy Boys, who has held 7 tag team belts at the same time in different promotions. Next you have FTR, the members of Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler, who has held 3 tag team championships at the same time. Next you have Austin Aries, who has held 6 titles at once. Next on the list that I can name is Lance Storm, who has held 3 titles at the same time, which makes his a little bit more iconic as well too. He's the first one to hold the WCW Hardcore Championship, the United States Championship, and the Cruiserweight Championship, all at the same time. Next on the list is Bobby Lashley, who has held 3 championships at the same time. Now, all of those who I named were men. Now, for the list for women, as I said, I did my research and I could not find that many women. And when I did look up women who are belt collectors in the wrestling industry, Mercedes Mone was the first name to pop up. But after I did some more digging, I looked up and spotted a name of Viva Van, who had a historic run for herself. She's collected over 5 titles from different promotions in her career. Now, as you see, I just named many people who are belt collectors, and I only named one woman besides Mercedes Mone. And that's often the thing that I like to think about as well too, of the run that Mercedes Mone has been doing. Um, she's always been vocal and publicized, talking about how she wanted to be a change and shift in the women's industry of wrestling. And that's one thing, the reason why I like her a lot too, is her standard and moral that she's always kept for herself and never changed. And also too, a lot of people I see when they comment of their dislike for her is makes me think, do you ever wonder her goals of what she has set in the business of what she's doing? There's most likely personal goals she set for herself that she wanted to do. Maybe she wants to be a belt collector. She's already said to herself and to fans that she wants to be a change in women's wrestling. She wanted to be that, as when she's seen WWE growing up and how women weren't utilized correctly, that they were just eye candy. I'm not making this up. This is something Mercedes Monet has said herself, and you can, research it and look at interviews. She's been vocal about it a lot. And then also too, let's look at her WWE career before we get to her AEW run right now. Mercedes Monet is an inaugural champion as well too. She's had a lot of iconic matches in her run of WWE, and she's always been a great name at the time that she was there. Um, she wasn't the first to, announce the idea. She wasn't the first to make the tag team titles. But she presented the idea because she felt women should have something else to fight for instead of just fighting for one belt and rotating that way. So she became the first with Bayley to have tag team belts, and that's iconic in itself because who else in the WWE industry had thought about having WWE tag belts? You can't think of any other woman, after all of this time in WWE in their career, they never presented that. As you can see, Mercedes Moné wanted to stamp some type of history and change for women's wrestling, and she's did that in her career. In addition to being a tag team champion, she's also been the NXT Women's Champions one time. She was the Raw Women's Champion 5 times. She's a one-time SmackDown champion and also a 3-time tag team champion to add on to how many times she's had it. Now she has moved over to AEW. Now, when she made this transition to AEW, she got so much backlash. And I don't understand why she was the only one that got pressed on her leave and departure from WWE. I don't get that, because when Naomi left, y'all praised her for walking away and that she was getting her flowers in TNA the way that she deserved. When Athena left, you guys didn't say anything about her. And I can name other men, but to keep it for women, you see the difference? You see how selective people are sometimes when it comes to Mercedes Moné? Because all 3 of these ladies left for the same category of reason. They left because they were unhappy, they were unfulfilled, and they wanted to gain more opportunities for themselves. But for some odd reason, Mercedes Moné, like I said, caught more backlash of her departure. That doesn't make any sense to me. We praise Naomi for her leaving and getting her flowers that she deserved. Athena's being praised, but Mercedes Moné gets the hate? That's very selective. Very, very selective. So when she moved to AEW, she's already had that carried weight of dislike from people onto her AEW run as she currently is right now. A lot of people wanted her to go back to WWE, but she's made it clear, and what she's been doing as well too, she wants to go to different areas of promotions to wrestle women that are the best. And she said recently too that she's showing that women's wrestling, is it. It is the best. And she wants to showcase these women that are the best. That moves into talking about collecting a belt. Her getting the TBS championship by defeating Willow Nightingale at Double or Nothing, that run as the TBS champ. I knew that this was going to be good. This is a good way to put your big name, get a title, and start running through the division. Because before she came to AEW, she's already established. She already has these big accolades. So she doesn't have to feel like she has to start over in the foundation. She could have if she wanted to, but Tony Khan didn't do that. He put the belt on her, and she's also earned that spot too. Because there's not many women that you can see that comes to a promotion and can get an easy opportunity like that. It's very slim to none. But the start of this championship was all right till she started gaining more belts. When she started to get the total of 9 right now. A lot of people were saying like, oh, she's squashing the talent. She's not really doing anything to add value to the belt to make it more prestige or add value to the women that she's facing. One thing I can say, 2 things can be right at once. I do see the side where people are saying she doesn't add value. I do see the side where people are saying that she does. Because let's deep dive. Let's think about it. All these promotions and belts that she is collecting and has won, even for myself, there were some belts that I didn't know from different promotions that existed. Out of the entire belt, I know about 4. I don't know the other 5. Now, also this too, Mercedes Mone. I said her name wrong for a sec. But the women that she's facing, she's only faced 1 time. She's never done a rematch with them to have a redo situation. Once she had 1 match, it was no rematch. So you can't say she's burying the talent. I would say if she was battling them repeatedly and they kept losing, that would be burying. Because at that point, a person's title ranking will go down the amount of times they would keep going back to challenge for a title that they have not won or can't get back. The reason why she's helping in this situation, because there are women she's put me on the market on, and I'm like, I didn't recognize some of these ladies, or I didn't recognize this promotion that they were on. It made me go back and look at their careers and see some who are established or some who are new. She's doing that. She's putting these women on the market. Even for the women that she's faced themselves, they talked about how, Mercedes Mone was the biggest, match of their career. Her name being stamped beside it, let alone just pushes these women to be the best, show that they are the best, and that's it. So seeing it from these wrestlers' perspectives who go against Monet makes it even better. Because also too, I just want to point out, because I've noticed it, because I'm paying attention. Are you paying attention? Because if you noticed in her matches with the title defenses, the ladies that she's putting on the market, or ladies you probably never even heard of, she's not doing most of the wrestling. The opponent she's going against is doing most of the wrestling. That's because she's showcasing them and not her. Yeah, one can beg to differ, like, hey, she's doing the most because she won. True, she did retain the championship, or she gained the championship, but most of those matches, those ladies are doing most of the work because she's showcasing them. And even at Forbidden Door, the Fatal 4-Way, those ladies were going in. I absolutely loved all 3 of them. And they were doing most of the work. Mercedes Mone was just there to just be a filler. And that's one thing that I've always liked about Mercedes Mone, is that she's able to put herself aside and really just share the ring.
Because we all know there are some talents, men and women, who do not like to share the ring, who likes to take the spotlight, who doesn't want to put anybody over, who doesn't want to pass the torch. We can name a few. I'm pretty sure you can think of somebody right now as you're watching this video. But for Mercedes Mone, she has really put women on the market. And as I stated before, that was her goal. She wanted to be a pivot in the women's wrestling industry. And I could say she's done that so respectfully. She's doing a good job. But on the flip side, like I said, two things can be right at once. It's helping, but it also hurts. The rotation of who she goes against, because there are some great names she could have been dethroned by. I definitely would have been okay with Willow Nightingale winning. Willow Nightingale, they have deep-rooted history with each other. The next one I wouldn't mind her getting dethroned from is Chris Statlander. Harley Cameron would be an awesome choice. All three of those women would be great choices, especially Queen Aminata. But me, if I was to pick out of all of them, I would definitely choose Willow Nightingale. She is the one that really could elevate it. And then plus two, once Mercedes Mone, gets dethroned one by one of the ladies, that she, lose the belt to, we don't know who they are gonna be, but as time goes, all good things come to an end. She's gonna eventually have to lose these belts and pass them on to somebody else, or some champions go the route of relinquishing the belts. But I feel that it would be best for her to drop the belt to somebody else instead of relinquishing them, because it's going to be like, oh, what's the point of taking it if you already admitted that storyline of the person that you went against to obtain that victory from to gather the belt. I think that would be a better way, so that way the victory can solidify a little bit more what's the word I'm thinking? Fulfilling. It would be more fulfilling for that person, her opponent, to gather it, so that way it can be as, oh, I took down Mercedes Mone, one of the biggest names, the most well-known women's wrestler of all time, and taking that down, it's going to be a big moment for their career. So all things come to an end at some point. It will, but we just don't know when. We just have to wait it out and see where that's going to take us when she does lose these belts one by one. So I'm definitely ready to see that. But in conclusion, to wrap up this conversation, definitely could say Mercedes Mone is an icon. She's an inaugural champion. She has stamped her name so high in this wrestling industry, especially for the women's division. She has really done a lot of great things in her career. Whether you like it or not, it's stamped. She's done it. She's a person that didn't just keep herself at a certain capacity. She wanted to go all out and get higher and higher in her career. And that's one thing that I like, especially as a woman, seeing another woman achieve great things and want to be that example, that role model for young girls to say, hey, if I did it at the age that you are right now, I've done it and you can do it. And she's always been that inspirational figure in the wrestling industry, whether you like it or not. She's made a name for herself. She said that was her goal and she did it. Y'all talking about it, whether it's negative or positive, but we prefer the positive, of course. But the negativity, very disheartening, because instead of hating the success of a person, why not celebrate it? Because you can't be selective as well, because some reasons that I see some people's dislike for Mercedes Mone really isn't justified. It definitely feels forced. That's just my opinion, so don't attack me. I'm just stating from what I see. But other than that, if you got your comments, drop them down below, but of course keep it respectful, because I know this is a topic, not a name that is controversial. This is a topic that is kind of a slippery slope. But hey, as I was respectful in this video, you can be respectful in the comments. I like a good, healthy debate. And keep it healthy between people who comment after your comment as well too. It's all right. You don't have to go there to be negative with each other. But all right. You guys have a wonderful day. Much love. God bless. Peace.